Hey there, Red here, welcoming all you eager listeners to Red Hunt, where we unravel captivating relationship stories from the depths of Reddit, so grab a seat. Hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into the juicy tales that'll keep you hooked throughout this adventure. Am I the antagonist for telling my mom I don't want to replace my husband the way she replaced my dad? I am a 30-year-old woman who lost my husband 4 years ago. We have 2 children together, a 9-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter. Since his death, I have prioritized focusing on myself and my children. I have no interest in dating or finding another husband. My mom has gone through a similar experience. When my sister and I were kids, I was 6 and she was 8, we lost our dad. Mom remarried 15 months later and referred to her new husband as a new dad for us. However, my sister and I felt pressured to call him dad, and Mom got rid of all photos of our dad. We were afraid she would destroy or throw away the ones we had, so we hid them with our friends. Thankfully, she didn't dispose of them, but there were other photos of our dad that were kept locked away, and we've never seen them since. My sister has asked for them a few times, but Mom told her she didn't need them. I suspect our dad's belongings are in there too, assuming they weren't thrown away. This has caused a lot of strain between us and Mom. For the past 2 years, my mom has been dropping hints that I should start dating again. I've always responded that I don't want to or ignored it. However, a couple of months ago, she told me I need to find a new dad for my kids before it's too late, that I need a husband. I told her that my kids already have a dad and there's no need to replace him. She dropped the topic for a few weeks, but then brought it up again last week. She insisted that the kids need a dad and I need a husband, or else I'll be alone and lonely for the rest of my life. She said I can't remain devoted to being my late husband's wife forever. According to her, I'm too young, and the kids are too young to never have another dad. I reminded her that I lost my own dad at the age of 6, and I miss him every day, never having another one. Things escalated from there when my mom asked how I could say that, considering her husband has been my dad for 24 years. I clarified that he has never been, nor will he ever be my dad. Just because she replaced my dad doesn't mean I want to replace my husband. Mom became furious, claiming it wasn't fair and that I should understand her better. I responded that I understand her even less now, after losing my husband, because I would never erase all traces of him from our home or deny my kids access to his belongings, as she did with our dad. I would never force my children to call someone else dad, and I couldn't even fathom trying to find another person for them to call dad. I reminded her that my late husband was an amazing dad, and he will always be their dad, just as my own dad will always be mine. Mom called me spiteful and selfish, and she sought support from my sister. However, my sister expressed the same sentiment. My aunt, who is my mom's sister, later told me I shouldn't have said what I did. She believes accusing Mom of replacing my dad instead of seeing her desire for our happiness is cruel. According to her, I am old enough to understand this. So, am I the asshole? It's completely understandable that you don't want to find another husband or father figure for your children after the loss of your spouse. It's your choice and your decision to focus on your family and honor your late husband's memory. Your mom should respect that and not try to force her own expectations onto you and your children. Am I the antagonist for not reminding my parents about a school event that's going to cost us $400–500? I am a 15-year-old male, and I'm going to move from 10th to 11th grade this winter break. Every year at my high school in Mexico, we have a big Mexican celebration to honor our tradition. It's a mandatory event for everyone to participate in. Each grade is assigned a small stall to sell food and drinks, and we are provided with tickets to sell in order to fund the party. My 20-year-old sister used to attend the same school, and she acts as my tutor, which means she's the one who receives emails and calls regarding tuition and other matters. Since she has been to 3 of these parties before, she knows how things work and was supposed to help me sell the tickets. My 50-year-old father, who pays for my tuition, also agreed to help me sell them when I told him. However, a month passed and it was a week before the party, and I still hadn't sold any tickets. I had forgotten about them due to exams, and they were just sitting in my drawer. That's when my father asks me if I want to go to SeaWorld with him and my stepmom. I agreed, not realizing it was on the same day as the party. It didn't bother me much, since it was SeaWorld. When I returned, the party was over and I never heard about the tickets again. A week later, the principal tells me that I need to pay some late fees for tuition and extra things, which I assume are the tickets. I inform my dad, and he pays after facing some difficulties with the sales department at the high school, but it eventually gets resolved. Now, this happened in late September. Let's fast forward to a week ago, at the end of the winter break, when my sister informs me that she received a call from the school saying that I need to pay for the unsold tickets. She asks how many tickets I sold, and I tell her that I didn't sell any because I didn't attend the party. Furthermore, neither she nor my dad helped me sell anything. She gets angry at me for not being responsible, but I respond by asking her what I was supposed to do. She suggests that I should have sold them to my friends, but I tried, and none of them wanted to incur more debt. She informs me that we have to pay for the tickets, and when I ask her how much it is, she says it's $30 per ticket. I find the old strip of tickets and count 16, meaning it would cost us about $400–500 in total. Now, my sister and mom are angry at me for this situation, and I'm not even sure if my father knows yet. I can't sell the tickets now that the party took place 4 months ago. I honestly don't think I'm at fault in this situation since I was a first-time participant in these parties, and my sister was supposed to assist me but did nothing. My father was also supposed to help me sell the tickets, but he did nothing as well. I did my best, given my limited knowledge, and they did not provide any help. Now, my whole family is upset with me, so am I the asshole? It's not your fault that your family didn't help you sell the tickets and you had exams to worry about. Plus, it's a bit ridiculous that the school expects students to sell so many tickets. It's unfair that your family is getting mad at you when they didn't do their part. Am I the antagonist for supporting my grieving best friend while my girlfriend just had a baby? I am a 20-year-old guy, and my girlfriend is 19. We have been together for 2 years and recently had a baby boy. Despite our young age, we are both mature and deeply in love, so we feel ready to start a family. My girlfriend chose not to have an abortion due to her religious beliefs, and we have financial support from my parents, so we don't have to worry about money. I have been friends with this girl, who is also 19, for about 10 years. She's kind, funny, and attractive, but since we practically grew up together, I have always seen her more as a sibling. She has always been there for me during difficult times, and I have done the same for her. Unfortunately, her 13-year-old sister recently passed away, which devastated her. She is struggling to cope with the loss, as her sister was the only person she had a good relationship with in her family. My friend blames herself for not being there for her sister. She doesn't have a close relationship with her mother, her friends from school live far away, and she is introverted, so I am pretty much her only support system. I attended the funeral with her, bring her favorite food to ensure she eats, and message her every day to check on her. She has battled depression before, and I'm afraid of losing her too. We hang out a couple of times per week, doing activities she used to enjoy with her sister, such as going on walks, watching movies, going to the library, baking, painting, playing video games, and having picnics. Our relationship has always been purely platonic, and we just reminisce about the good times we had with her sister. Besides spending time with my friend, I am also focused on supporting my family. I help with household chores, feed and bathe my son, and take care of other responsibilities along with schoolwork and work. Lately, though, I have been getting into arguments with my girlfriend. She is suspicious of the time I spend with my friend, even though I am only supporting her. In the first month after our son's birth, I did everything I could to make things easier for my girlfriend. However, now that my friend is going through a difficult time, I have been honest with my girlfriend about helping her. Despite this, my girlfriend accuses me of neglecting her and our son and claims that I have a crush on my friend. I understand that parenthood has been challenging for my girlfriend, especially considering it was an unplanned pregnancy. However, I believe I should be allowed to support my best friend while she grieves. Am I the asshole here? It sounds like you're doing your best to support both your girlfriend and your friend during difficult times. Your girlfriend should understand that you can care about someone deeply without it being romantic, especially since you've been friends for so long. It's important to communicate with your girlfriend and explain that you're there for her too, but your friend needs support right now and you're trying to be there for her as well. I didn't respond to my sister text asking for her important tax forms. She dead to me. So my sister, who is 34 years old, moved to the state I currently live in because she was evicted with her 3 children in May 2023. She left behind her boyfriend and then sent 2 of their children back to the state she left after a month to be with the dad for the summer. She made it seem like she wanted to come out here and get herself together. She moved in with our mother and begged our mother to let her move in. She even asked me to talk to mom because when she arrived, she moved into a women and children shelter, which she didn't like. I tried to support her. When she first came, I picked her up from the airport, gave her money to purchase personal hygiene items for her and her kids, drove her around to places she needed to go, invited her to spend time with my family and me, and allowed her to stay at my home during the day. I got her a job at my workplace because she constantly complained to me about living with our mom and how she didn't enjoy it there. She claimed that mom was toxic, and I suggested that the only way she could escape that environment was by finding a job to earn money for another apartment or house. I managed to get her a job where I work, and I drove her to the interview, to work and back, only for her to quit after just 2 days. The drive was approximately 38 minutes each way. She came up with numerous excuses for why she decided to quit. In November 2023, she left to return to the state she had left without informing me. All I know is that she and her boyfriend were finally approved for low-income housing there after being on the wait list for a long time, so she won't be coming back here. I felt taken advantage of. She then left her oldest son, my nephew, temporarily with our mother for a month without asking. My nephew called his mother, claiming that my mother wasn't feeding him, which was untrue. My sister texted me, cursing me out and disrespecting me, even though I didn't know what was happening at the time. She spoke to me as if I had never tried to help her or be there for her during her difficult times. During those messages, I told her that she is dead to me and that our relationship would never be the same. I no longer want anything to do with her. Although this isn't the first time she has done something like this, it is the most extreme. After a while, she apologized for her behavior, stating that it's not her true character and so on. I told her it's all right, but it doesn't change my decision to not have a close relationship with her ever again. We haven't spoken since early December 2023. A couple of days ago, she texted me asking for the phone number to my employer because she hasn't received her W-2 form yet and needs it. Keep in mind that she only worked at this job for 2 days. I chose not to respond to her and started to block her number because I want nothing to do with her. Wow, that's a really tough situation. It sounds like you went above and beyond to try and help your sister, but she just took advantage of your kindness. It's completely understandable that you would want to distance yourself from her after everything she put you through. Blocking her number seems like the best choice for your own well-being. Am I the antagonist for canceling my sister's visit even though her therapist said she needed a vacation? About 3 years ago, my stepsister Daphne became pregnant. She and her husband Jim were very happy, but at the 20-week scan they discovered that the baby had a congenital condition and would be born with severe disabilities. Daphne chose to continue with the pregnancy despite Jim's objections, and they separated temporarily, but reconciled before their son Liam was born. Liam is now 2 years old. Over the past 2 years, Daphne's and Jim's mental health has deteriorated significantly. Daphne used to be optimistic and pleasant, but now it is impossible to have a conversation with her. She is spiteful, jealous, and reacts angrily to any perceived offense. During my own pregnancy, I avoided speaking to her because of her bitterness and self-centeredness. We don't live close to Daphne, so we rarely see her in person, but our parents have informed me that her condition is worsening. In early November, Daphne experienced a mental breakdown. She completely destroyed Liam's room and vandalized Jim's car in a fit of rage. Finally, this was enough for her to be moved up the waiting list for mental health services, and she began therapy. During this time, she reached out to me, and we had a few conversations. I invited her and Jim to visit my husband and me for a vacation at our beach house in March. However, when we saw Daphne and Jim over Christmas, it was a terrible experience. Daphne was able to control herself for a few hours, but then she reverted back to her previous behavior. She constantly used foul language, and while I understand that Liam doesn't understand her, I believe that swearing at children is not acceptable. Whenever I expressed concern for her, she snapped at me, saying that I should stop behaving as if I have a perfect child. Jim was also frequently irritable towards her. Additionally, he consistently wanted to hold or play with my child, which became annoying. Overall, the entire Christmas break was filled with tension and unease due to the situation. A week ago, my husband finally expressed that he did not want Daphne and Jim to visit, and I agreed. I called Daphne and explained that something unexpected had occurred with my husband's work, and we needed to cancel the trip. Daphne was infuriated. She mentioned that her therapist had advised that this vacation would be good for her. They hadn't been on a vacation since Liam's birth, and she believed that I owed her this one thing to assist her. Eventually, she gave in and criticized me, calling me a terrible person for pulling the rug out from under her, and then abruptly ended the call. I feel guilty for potentially hindering her recovery, and even my parents believe that I should not have canceled, causing me to reconsider my decision. They witnessed how terribly she treated me during Christmas, and how fixated Jim became with my child. Yet they still believe I should have set that aside. They don't typically advocate for keeping the peace, so maybe I am truly at fault here. Am I the antagonist in this situation? Your mental and emotional well-being should always come first, and if being around Daphne and Jim is causing you stress and anxiety, it's completely understandable that you decided to cancel the trip. It's not your responsibility to sacrifice your own happiness for the sake of someone else's recovery. Your parents might have a different perspective, but ultimately, you have to do what feels right for you and your family. My husband found out I cheated years ago. Any way I can save this? I, a 36-year-old woman, have been married to my husband Evan, a 37-year-old man, for 13 years. Before marriage, we dated for about 4 years. We have 3 young children together. I want to emphasize that I love my husband more than anything, and throughout our entire 17-year relationship, I have never considered cheating. However, in our first year of dating, when I was 20, I joined Evan's family for Christmas. We all got very drunk, and at some point I passed out. When I woke up, I found myself naked in his brother's bed. I had woken up just as he was finishing. I felt terrified and only remember pushing him away and running back to my husband's room. He was passed out in his bed, as were most others that night, so nobody woke up. I took a shower and cried myself to sleep. The next morning we left, and I never told anyone about what had happened that night. Trust me, I was disgusted with myself and extremely ashamed. However, I was also very scared of losing Evan. He was my first serious boyfriend, and we had entered into a committed relationship. I didn't want to jeopardize any of it due to a drunken mistake. Since that incident, I completely stopped drinking and vowed to never put myself in such a vulnerable position again. Shortly after, his brother moved away, and the only text he ever sent me was a warning to never tell anyone, or Evan would leave me for being a slut. Unless necessary during the few family gatherings he attended, I avoided any contact with him. I made sure to never be alone with him again. Over the years, the guilt has somewhat diminished, and we have been happy. We got married right after college and started a family. I was genuinely happy, as was Evan. However, last week his brother returned to town unexpectedly. He didn't inform anyone but called Evan to meet up and confessed everything. Apparently, he had found God and wanted to clear his conscience. When Evan came home, he was in tears. He had never yelled at me like that before and called me disgusting. He kept crying, asking me how I could do something so repulsive. I pleaded and apologized profusely. I tried to explain that I was drunk and unaware of what was happening. I swore that I never intended to cheat and had never desired to cheat. However, he refused to believe me. Due to his frequent traveling for work, he now suspects that I was cheating during all those times he was away, and I can't convince him otherwise. He questions my intentions, my love, my loyalty, everything. He even asked if our children are truly his. He even mentioned the possibility of divorce. I acknowledge that I made a terrible mistake and perhaps deserve the consequences. However, I desperately seek advice on how to salvage my relationship. I do not want a divorce, and I don't want to force or pressure him, but I genuinely desire reconciliation. Is there any hope? Are there any actions I can take to save my marriage? It must have been incredibly difficult for you to finally confront something from the past that you had kept hidden for so long. It's understandable why your husband is feeling hurt and betrayed, but it's important to emphasize that this was a mistake from your past and not indicative of who you are now. Open communication, therapy, and time might be helpful in order to work through these intense emotions and find a way to rebuild trust. I hope things work out for you both. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.